Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started with our webinar in just a minute, so please hang tight. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Turks, Tips, and Tricks. Today we're going to look at NX expressions and part families. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Turks, Tips, and Tricks. Today we're going to look at NX expressions and part families. For the agenda, very briefly, we're going to talk about the company that I work for, Geometric Solutions, who we are, and how can we help. Then, we're going to talk about building smarter models, specifically using expressions and part families. Now, this is a very deep subject. There is a lot to it, and so in this brief webinar, we're just going to scratch the surface. But if you'd like to learn more, then you can always contact me later. We've got the GoToWebinar dialog box. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in. My name is Dan Turk, and I'm an application engineer with Geometric Solutions. The company that I work for, Geometric Solutions, we have an expression that we like to use around here, and that's "we walk the talk." Essentially, it's not just that we say we can do things, no, we actually can do them. So what we're going to look at in this webinar, it's real topics, real things that I have done for Geometric Solutions or for some of our customers. But that's not all that we do is NX. We're also big with some of the digital twin products. So plant simulation, process simulation, mechatronics concept designer, the list goes on and on of all the tools that we have. We also offer engineering services as well as some training. The owner of our company, he put it nicely. He said, "Our ability to successfully partner with our customers comes from our experience in using the tools we sell every day." Again, we don't just sell them, no, we use them. Okay, let's get to the subject. Turks, tips, and tricks, NX expressions, and part families. So what we're going to look at here, we've got a brake caliper, and I'm going to make a new one using some expressions, and then we're going to turn that into a family of parts. So I'll just go into my sketch, and you can see there's really nothing here to this point. So the first thing I'd want to do, of course, is add a couple of dimensions. Now in the old versions of NX, it would say P0 equals 77.25. Well, this version, it's not doing that, which is nice, because you used to have thousands of expressions that you never really used. If I want this to be an expression, I can just right-click, add and remove expression. And in this case, I'll type in hub OD. You may have noticed something else, and that was that I can convert this to a half diameter. Turn this one into an expression. We'll just call this one OD for the overall. And I'll put in one more expression, and it will be for the thickness. And just a last dimension in here, just to finish out my sketch. And I'm going to finish that. Now let's look at the expressions that we have. So tools, expressions, and I've got it set to named expressions. So you can see the 3 expressions that we have there. And even from the sketch, just with the sketch that we've got right here, I should be able to go in and make changes. Good. Let's take this hub and we're going to revolve it. Specify my vector. Put it at 360, of course. Okay. So now I have the start of my caliper. Now, of course, we're going to want to put a through hole into this part. But let's go ahead and let's create the expression first. So we'll go to Tools, Expressions, and we'll just call this one Hole Diameter. And we'll put it in at 69 millimeters. Okay. Well, then I'm simply going to punch a hole right through my part. Just grab that at the center point. And for my hole diameter, I'm just going to type in hole diameter. We'll make sure it goes through the body, and okay. The next thing that we're going to want to do is put in the bolt hole pattern. I'll just reset this back to constant, and we're just going to put in a 15 millimeter hole. We'll put that on the top face. And close. So I'm just going to essentially line this little point up, and we'll put it in as, let's see, 54. That looks good. Have it go through the body, and there we go. We've got that first hole. So from here we're going to use a pattern feature. And of course we're going to go with a circular pattern, and the feature is going to be the hole. The vector, we want it to be the y-axis going towards us, and then we're going to go count and span. So we want it to go 360 degrees, and then I'll go with a count of 5. And okay. Alright, so there we have our very simple rotor, and it's started. Now let me show you a couple other things we can do with our expressions. I'm going to go back into Tools, Expressions, and I want to find the other hole that I had made, specifically with that pattern. Well, why can't I find it? Well, keep in mind I've got named expressions on. So I could go to All Expressions, and it's going to show me every single expression that we have. So what we would need to do is to find the expression. So in this case, I know I put in a pattern of 5, at 360. So this one's pretty easy. If we weren't sure though about these ones, I could go back into my pattern, and where it says count, go down, formula, and now it's showing me it's P206. So it is the one that we thought it was as 5. So just a little trick that can help you if you're unsure of which expression you're actually changing. So we're going to change that 206 to, we're going to say number of holes. And then let's just take a little test and let's see what happens when we put 6 in there. Okay, good. So our pattern, it's going to work for us. Number of holes, we'll change that back to 5. Now let's look at our expression group one more time. And I just want to show you that you do have some nice abilities in here to change or to create expression groups. If I just right click, I could make a new group. And maybe I would call this one expression formulas. So if I had any formulas in there, then that's where those could go. So you can make any number of groups, make your groups active, or export them. And if you have any questions on this, just keep in mind that little help button. It actually works really well with these new versions of NX. Okay, so we've got this very simple, admittedly simple rotor. Let's take and turn it into a part family. So the good thing to remember about part families is whatever you see on the screen, that's what you're going to have. So if we created a part family with this datum coordinate system right there, that's what we'd get. That's what we would see. Now the interesting thing too is it's basically taking this part and it's making copies of it. So that means that in the next part we're going to have this coordinate system, we're going to have this old body that's in there, and all of the rest of the bits. So that's where you can decide, do you want to put them on a layer, do you want them to be suppressed, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with part families. It's on the Tools tab, right next to expressions. So we have part families. Now the first thing I like to do when I get into the part families is I first like to go into the settings. And you'll notice family save directory. And it always puts it in a weird spot. So that's not where I want it to go. So I could pick a place. Maybe I'll put it in on my desktop in a new folder called family. Okay, and now this is set. The reason that we want to do this, almost everyone that I've helped with part families, where we get into trouble is everything's right. They go ahead and create everything, but it's just not working. They can't find the files. Or that other directory that we had, it's one that I can't write to. So it tries to write the files, but it just doesn't. Okay, so we're going to look at our part families here. And there's a bunch of different columns that we can use. So let's start with expressions. Yep, we want to have hole diameter, hole OD, number of holes. Basically all the ones that we've named, we want them. So I'll add those. But then we could go into features as well. So remember we had that body feature there that we don't really want on the other ones. So let me add that. We're then just going to hit Create Part Family. Now the nice thing about this is it gives us a couple of options. We have this newer version where we can start typing in the variables that we want right now, right in here. Or we can use it in a an Excel spreadsheet. For my purposes, I like to use the spreadsheet, and then I like to use this to do the editing. So I'm just going to click down here, Part Family Spreadsheet, Edit Spreadsheet. It takes me to my old friend Excel. Of course, we want to give it a part number and a part name. So I'm going to call the first one Parent 1. The name, Parent 1. It won't be very creative. The way I like to do it is I always like the top one, and this is just a preference, but I like it to be the one that's got everything in it. Then the next ones, these are the ones that we're actually going to make. So I'll call this one 1001. And we'll just drag that down. Oops. 1002, 1003. There we go. So then here's where I can make some changes. Now you could just go in and just copy these all down. What we'll do is we're going to just type. So I'm going to have one that is based off of the parent. And yes, I could have copied and pasted that to be a lot easier. Except for that body, I don't want it. I'm going to say no. In fact, I don't want that body on any of them. I'm going to change the thickness. Make it a little bit more. We'll change the OD. Number of holes. The hub OD. And the hole diameter. I'm going to go add-ins, part family, save family. And then we're going to see it populate right here. So there's those ones that I just added. And let's just say that I made a mistake. I actually wanted that to be 160.5. Well, I can make that change, and it's going to link back to the spreadsheet. But then, here's what's nice. You'll notice these guys, they light up. I can verify a part. So let me move that a little bit. There we go. Verify the part. It's just going to run through and verify that the dimensions, that they work. And then you can see the part changes. Now apply values. That adds those values, and then it stops the part family. So that would be it would make it the current one. So let's do that for 1. Apply values. And just a little note there. And you'll notice that body that we had, now it's suppressed. Let me go back into the part family, and I want the parent, I want that always to be the master part that I'm working on. If we needed to edit the spreadsheet, we can. If we want to get rid of the family, you can do that too. So you could see, using some of these expressions along with the part families, it's a really fast, easy way to get your models created. Now let's do this. I want to save my family. If I go to that folder that I created, you can see it's empty. So there's no files. Everything's contained in this, this one NX part. If I highlight these rows, I get another option, Create Parts. Pull up that folder. There's Parent 1, Part 1, 2, and 3. We'll hit OK. And then I'm just going to go and open up one of those parts that we had. So let's open up the third one. And there we have it, the start of our rotor. Now, of course, there's a lot more work to do to this part, but it gives you a good idea. Now, here's another nice thing about this. If I went in here and thought, you know what, I want to make some changes to this part. So I'll double click on one of the features and it warns me, hey, this is a read-only part. If you want to make any changes, you've got to go back to the parent. So it gives me a nice warning. If you want to make changes, they've got to happen at this level. Well, that's going to wrap up our webinar. I hope you're able to find something useful. I want to remind everyone that we do these Turks Tips and Tricks webinars on the 4th Tuesday of each month. So please mark your calendar. Also, do you have any suggestions? Is there something that you would like to see? Then please feel free to send me an email, dan.turk@goplm.com. If we use your idea, then I'll send you a pair of these stylish nerd glasses that I frequently wear. Are you interested in any NX training? Same email address, and we can chat about that. Again, I'd like to thank you for your time and for your attention. If you have questions, you've got my email address, or you can contact us at solutions@goplm.net. We've also got this QR code that you can scan to learn more about our company as well as any upcoming events that we're having. Again, thank you everybody. Have a great day, and as always, be safe.